hablar del método Doman. ¿O se ha encontrado algún libro en el supermercado o en la librería que dice cómo multiplicar la inteligencia de su bebé o cómo enseñarle a leer a su bebé? Y usted se pregunta, ¿cómo es esto del método Doman? Bueno, para hablar de este tema tenemos al señor Douglas Doman en esta noche. Y algo importante es que de lo que vamos a hablar es de que usted tiene un pequeño genio allí en casa a quien puede multiplicar su inteligencia, porque todos los niños son genios y tienen el potencial que tenía Leonardo da Vinci, tal como decía el señor Glenn Doman y el señor Douglas Doman que está aquí presente. Muchísimas gracias por acompañarnos una vez más en el ABC de los Padres. Thank you for being here.
Gracias. Very happy to be here.
For us, it's a wonderful experience to share with you again and to tell the parents so many things that you have to tell us. And first of all, I want to start from the very basic. How did all this start, the gentle revolution? When did it start?
Well, the staff of the Institute began its work with brain-injured children, and they never had any intention to have anything to do with well babies. So life doesn't always work the way that one plans. And in the early 1960s, we began to teach severely brain-injured children how to read. We did that because we knew they were intelligent, but there was no way to prove to the world that they were intelligent. So we figured, let's teach them how to read. We taught their parents how to teach them to read. And we had, by 1962, hundreds of severely brain-injured 3-year-olds who could read, in some cases better than 9-year-olds. And so we had to ask the question, is it good to be brain-injured? No, it's not good to be brain-injured. So the other question was, why aren't well children functioning as well as they should and to their full potential? And so my father wrote the book, How to Teach Your Baby to Read. It's now in 20 languages. It's sold millions and millions of copies around the world. And thousands of mothers around the world have written to my father. It's his favorite possession, the letters from mothers from all different countries who taught their babies to read, and their babies love to read. And that was a long time ago, so we're now into the second generation of those babies grew up, and they have now babies who are reading.
Okay, excellent. But there are more programs than just reading, right?
Yes.
Which, can you tell us a little bit more, at least name them, and then we're going to go deeply into each of them. Because people in Costa Rica knows a lot about the reading program and the math program, because I think those are the books that we had here before. But now we have Si su bebé es un genio, which is a wonderful book, and
it's
I would like to
fabulous book. It's a 21st century book.
And to talk a little bit more about that book and the programs in general. But the Si su bebé es un genio, it's for children what age?
Well, it is the Bible for babies from birth to 12 months of age. And it teaches mothers how to determine their baby's visual ability, auditory ability, and tactile ability. So these are the sensory pathways into the brain. And then how to develop the motor pathways. This is the information coming out of the brain: mobility, language, and manual competence. So it tells the mother from birth how she can develop her baby until 12 months of age. He can be above age level physically and intellectually. Then the baby is ready for the other books in the Gentle Revolution series.
So first year, Si su bebé es un genio. What if a child is 1 year already? Can a mother use that book still?
It wouldn't be necessary unless she had some concern that maybe her baby did not develop as well as she would like.
Okay, but the ideal age is 1 to 2. So after the baby is 1 year old, which book would you recommend?
Well, how to teach your baby to read, how to teach your baby math, and then we get to how to multiply your baby's intelligence. And give your baby encyclopedic knowledge, which will be published by EDAF in Madrid by the end of this year.
Okay, and there is a physical one?
Yeah, there is the physical book, and the new physical book will also be out by EDAF. And this now has 100 new photographs, and it basically tells parents from birth up to 6 years of age how to develop their children to high levels of mobility and also high levels of balance and manual competence, of course, ending up in the ability to write.
Okay, if you had to recommend one program and only one that a mother could do, which one would that program be?
Well, my responsibility is mobility.
Because it's your area, right?
But, I mean, for myself as a father, the great joy was teaching my children how to swim, and so I wrote the book, How to Teach Your Baby to Swim, which is now already in Spanish.
And it's here in Costa Rica.
Yes, but if I had to choose only one thing, it would definitely be reading. Because reading is the basis for intelligence. If a child loves to read and independently reads, he can learn about everything that he wants to learn about in life. It's the basis of humanities and university. So definitely, that's by far the most important book.
And it's interesting because you have a very important physical area that you develop. Why is that? Why did you get into the physical part so much?
Well, our objective is intellectual excellence, physical excellence, and social excellence. I mean, that's well-rounded. And although it's based on brain growth and development, and that's based on new science, the fact of the matter is it goes all the way back to the ancient Greeks. The ancient Greeks knew that it was important for human beings to be well-rounded, both intellectually and physically. That's where the Olympics came from, 2,000 years ago, and socially as well. But now science has proven that children who are active, and there have been studies show that the children who run score better in intellectual tests than sedentary children. And there even have been studies done that show that that particular area of the brain is bigger for the children who are physically active than the children who are not.
So what your recommendation would be? How many times a week a child should do physical activity?
Well, we would like to see it happen every day. Okay. And of course, children are incredibly active. They want to move. They want to be outside. They want to be doing things. And I mean, you here in Costa Rica have a wonderful climate, so your children can be outside every day. Where I come from, we're locked up, from October to March. And so it's wonderful for the children to be outside and active. Sadly, in the United States, and I hope that Costa Rica doesn't follow us in this regard, we have a problem of childhood obesity. And this affects health, this affects intellectual development. And so by being physically active, the children are not going to get overweight and get into those kind of problems.
And what kind of activity, when your kids were little, what kind of activity did you do with them?
Well, these are all things that babies naturally do. Arnold Gazelle, who was the great child developmentalist, wrote 50 years ago that the athletic field of the child is the floor. And just giving babies opportunity to be on the floor, to learn to crawl on their tummies and creep on their hands and knees and walk, all by itself, that's a great thing to do. And in fact, babies nowadays don't get the floor time that they had 40 years ago. All mothers knew 40 years ago, and grandmothers knew. Give the baby opportunity to move and the freedom to move, and they did that naturally. But that actually has fallen out in our culture, and that's sad.
And there are even mothers that don't want babies to creep or crawl, to creep on hands and knees.
Well, the problem is the different devices that have been created for babies. There are car seats, which of course are wonderful. But then there are strollers that immobilize babies. And I see 4 and 5-year-olds in strollers when we have 4 and 5-year-olds who run 3 kilometers, 4 kilometers nonstop. My 4-year-old, before his 5th birthday, ran in a public 10-kilometer race.
Without adults?
Yeah.
Of course, because there were no other children. I think only your boy was running there.
With thousands, and we've had people contact us where 6 and 7-year-olds have run marathons. So children have incredible capabilities. And of course, to run 10 kilometers or a marathon or even 2 kilometers, you can only do that if you want to do it, and it's an enjoyable thing to do. So running is really the foundation for sport. Our physical book teaches mothers how to do a walking to running program. And we do that so that the children can then play football if they want to, and of course basketball, or any other sport.
Sport because they have the physical conditions.
Right, exactly.
And so when you do the walking program, I know you used to do that walking program. I've read it with your children, right?
Yes,
right?
yes.
And how many minutes, hours a day, or how did it work?
Well, you begin just walking for 5 minutes, and then gradually building up to 10, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. 30 minutes of walking nonstop. The depth and the respiration of the child improves, the physical endurance improves, and then that segues into a running program. But my children are now grown up, and we continue to run together. It's a great family activity, and it costs nothing.
You run?
Yeah.
Good. You keep doing it. You're a big Doman baby. I always say that. You're the perfect example of
No.
Yes, you are. And okay, we have the physical area. Also swimming. Do you recommend swimming for babies?
Oh, swimming is a wonderful joy. Babies know how to swim when they're born. They've been swimming in utero for 9 months. So they already actually have the function in their brain, but they have to use the function or else they will lose it. And again, you have a fabulous environment here in Costa Rica. You have great, beautiful oceans and seas and pools where the babies can literally swim every day.
En Laboratorios Echandi tenemos el mejor equipo técnico que nos garantiza la exactitud de los resultados de sus exámenes, acompañado de un destacado grupo de profesionales que se actualizan constantemente para brindarle un mejor servicio. En agradecimiento a su preferencia, queremos ofrecerle varias alternativas para el uso de nuestros servicios, en beneficio de usted y su familia.
Laboratorios Clínicos de Echandi están en todo el área metropolitana. Los invitamos a visitarnos.
Natural Makeover y Spa es una clínica de belleza especializada con tecnología de punta, lo último en técnicas manuales y micropigmentación. Nuestro objetivo es brindarle una opción de tratamientos estéticos y relajantes. Las Body Magic 2-Step System reúnen en un solo sistema enormes ventajas para tu cuerpo, remodelan la figura y reducen hasta 2 tallas de cintura. Le invitamos a que conozca nuestros servicios. Natural Makeover, belleza y salud en armonía.
Cuánto te esperé y ahora estás aquí, expresando entre sonrisas este amor.
Hay un amor tan grande que dura toda la vida. Por eso todos los días está hasta en cada cucharadita. Colado Sagú, calidad, nutrición y amor.
¿Ya adquirió usted la pista de gateo para su bebé? Se la recomiendo 100%. Es especial para estimular el área física de los bebés desde que están recién nacidos y hasta el año y medio, ya que tiene múltiples usos. Llámenos o escríbanos para que aparte la suya y empiece a estimular a su bebé en el área física.
A los ticos no nos puede faltar empezar el día con un cafecito y gallo pinto para desayunar. No nos pueden faltar los paseos de un día a la playa o a las posas con los amigos, ni el antojito de un copo para terminar. Que no falten nuestros ritmos, música y canciones para bailar. No nos pueden faltar nuestras costumbres, nuestro folclor, nuestra gente, pura vida, nuestro sabor. Como a los ticos, solo los ticos. Y como las sodas, solo Pozuelo, que es mucha galleta.
Hoy que estamos hablando del método Doman, es importante que recordemos que también los niños pueden aprender la cantidad de idiomas que quieran antes de los 7 años. De hecho, los niños aprenden idiomas prácticamente al descuido. Es por eso que les recomiendo el mejor método para niños para aprender idiomas, el método de bebé políglota, donde sus hijos van a aprender hasta 7 idiomas a la vez, mientras se divierten viéndolos en casa 3 veces al día
con una guía muy sencilla donde usted simplemente enciende el televisor, pone la lección que le corresponde a su bebé y que ha ido anotando en el librito que trae el método de bebé políglota. Por eso ya sabe, su hijo tiene la capacidad de aprender hasta 7 idiomas con el mismo método. Adquiera hoy el método de bebé políglota.
So we have the physical area, but there's also a very important area you talk about, and it's nutrition.
Yes.
What can you tell parents about nutrition and the child?
Well, we pioneered our nutritional program in the early 1970s, and Adele Davis, who is really the mother of modern nutrition in the United States, came to the institutes as a volunteer and set up our whole nutritional program for the brain injured children. And there are hundreds of children alive today because of Adele's work. A great biochemist, way ahead of her time. So we have taken her nutritional program and we've expanded it as we've learned more and more.
Are there foods you think children shouldn't eat at all?
Well, we're opposed to concentrated sugars. Now, of course, there is so much sugar in our environment, and it's almost impossible to keep children away from it. My oldest son, we gave him his first ice cream cone.
When he was 20?
No. He was 2.5.
Well, I did the same with my Christine. She was 2 when she ate her first ice cream.
Right.
Because I went to the institutes before, so I know.
So, yes, concentrated sugars to a minimum. They're not helpful in terms of the body. Too much salt can cause a retention of fluids, which is not necessary. We have a booklet called The Pathway to Wellness, which is for the parents of brain-injured children. But now we're coming out with a Pathway to Excellence, and this is our booklet for the parents of well babies. And of course, we'll get that in Spanish, hopefully by the end of the year. So that will have dozens of points about nutrition, and if parents write to the institutes, we will be happy to make sure they get that.
And why sugar? Why no sugar? Not so good sugar. What have you?
Well, it kills appetite. Mothers often say, when it's mealtime, my child won't eat. When she puts good food in front of the baby, he won't eat. Well, if he has been consuming large amounts of sugar, he's not going to have an appetite. Sometimes mothers give too much juice, and the juice also has concentrated sugar, and that kills the appetite, so the baby doesn't eat good food when the time comes. So we prefer good, pure water for babies, and not too much juice. I don't know if it's a problem here. Now you have wonderful fruit in this country, fresh fruit. If it's just the fresh fruit and not sugar added, great.
If not, the best thing a child can drink, and an adult too, is water.
Exactly.
Okay, so those are things children shouldn't eat. Do you have any studies of foods that are good for the brain or that are good for the body of the child? That you say every child should eat a portion of, like 1 apple a day keeps the doctor away. Is there something you have found out?
Well, fish is considered a brain food.
Okay.
And so that's great. But the problem with fish is to make sure you have fish that has not been contaminated, because there can also be all kinds of pollutants in our fish. So as long as you can get to good non-polluted fish, that is considered a brain food.
Okay. Any other?
Well, of course, fresh vegetables, fresh fruits, and as much as possible, organic fruits, vegetables, and foods.
Okay, great. Now let's go a little bit to the program to teach languages. What do you think about teaching languages to children? Because there is a saying, or a big myth, I think it's a myth, that when you teach a child more than one language, then the child will have a delay in the language development. What?
It's just absolutely silly. Now, of course, we at our school the international school in Philadelphia, we encourage in our early development program as many languages as possible. And in fact, the part of the brain that is responsible for language has the mother language, and then the other languages are on top of the mother language. So that part of the brain is bigger, and then the connections between the languages make the quality of that part of the brain even better. But, this is a silly Western idea because, we have offices in Southeast Asia, in Japan. Now we're setting up a nonprofit organization in India. And when I go to those countries, I don't even talk about it because everybody in the audience speaks 3 or 4 languages. I only speak 2, one not very well. So I'm going to lecture them about more languages when it's just a part of their culture. It would be silly for me to discuss such a thing. So in the Western Hemisphere, we need to grow up like the East.
Okay, another big thing, having the child barefoot. What's all that about?
Well,
yeah, I've heard you talk about that, and mothers sometimes here in Costa Rica it happens that the grandmothers say never have the child barefoot. But more and more mothers are reading your books and they know that it's important to have the child barefoot. But why is that?
Well, I think that probably women know this 10 times better than men do. And now I see women who have just said enough in terms of high heels. I mean, they're beautiful, but if one wears them and is 50 and 60 years old, people can start to have back problems and hip problems and ankle problems and foot problems, all because of those beautiful high heels. Older women have learned to wear, flat shoes and get rid of some of the physical problems that they have. Now, for babies, we want the babies to be able to feel the floor when they're on it. So when they're starting to crawl, they need bare feet to push with their feet on the floor, and then to creep on their hands and knees. And when they walk, we want them to walk with bare feet so their ankles develop naturally. If we put them in shoes, shoes are like braces that give them ankle support. We want their ankles to give them ankle support. That's what God created them for. And we want their brains to be able to tell those ankles to do what they need to do. So we keep the babies in barefoot even when they're running. Now again, you have beautiful beaches, so you can be there on those beautiful beaches, with bare feet in the sand.
And what about the babies walking bare feet on the grass and on different surfaces?
Yeah.
Do you recommend that?
Absolutely.
Okay. Why? What's the message? What's the whole idea
Well,
of
for
that?
the reasons I explained, to have nice natural development in terms of their feet.
So the shoes that are supposed to be special for when children are starting to walk are not so good?
We would prefer that the babies remain barefoot until they walk all over the house independently, and preferably outside the house, and even to run.
En Laboratorios Echandi tenemos el mejor equipo técnico que nos garantiza la exactitud de los resultados de sus exámenes, acompañado de un destacado grupo de profesionales que se actualizan constantemente para brindarle un mejor servicio. En agradecimiento a su preferencia, queremos ofrecerle varias alternativas para el uso de nuestros servicios, en beneficio de usted y su familia.
Laboratorios Clínicos de Echandi están en toda el área metropolitana. Los invitamos a visitarnos.
Natural Makeover y Spa es una clínica de belleza especializada con tecnología de punta, lo último en técnicas manuales y micropigmentación. Nuestro objetivo es brindarle una opción de tratamientos estéticos y relajantes. Las Body Magic 2-Step System reúnen en un solo sistema enormes ventajas para tu cuerpo, remodelan la figura y reducen hasta 2 tallas de cintura. Le invitamos a que conozca nuestros servicios. Natural Makeover, belleza y salud en armonía.
Cuánto te esperé y ahora estás aquí, expresando entre sonrisas este amor.
Hay una amor tan grande que dura toda la vida. Por eso todos los días está hasta en cada cucharadita. Colados Agú. Calidad, nutrición y amor.
¿Ya adquirió usted la pista de gateo para su bebé? Se la recomiendo 100%. Es especial para estimular el área física de los bebés desde que están recién nacidos y hasta el año y medio, ya que tiene múltiples usos. Llámenos o escríbanos para que aparte la suya y empiece a estimular a su bebé en el área física.
¿Te enteraste del nuevo corte de pelo de Ana por una foto posteada? ¿Recordaste viejos tiempos chateando con ese amigo que no ves hace años? Fuiste parte del cumple de Diego gracias a un video compartido.
Qué bueno poder estar siempre conectados, pero no hay nada como encontrarnos y compartir juntos. ¿Y si nos vemos hoy?
Boquitas, la diversión se combina mejor cuando estamos juntos. Y son de Pozuelo, que es mucha galleta.
Ya usted sabe que si su bebé quiere banano, manzana, melocotón, pera, frutas tropicales, manzana piña, guayaba o ciruela, lo que su bebé quiere es agú. Porque agú son colados 100% naturales, hechos de fruta y además no contienen ningún preservante. Agú es calidad, nutrición y amor que a los bebés les encanta.
Now let's talk a little bit about music and the child. At what time should we start introducing music to the children? At what age?
We start at birth.
Okay.
We develop their auditory pathway. We can use music to do that, but of course we want them to love music and develop into classical music and popular music.
Okay. Any music? Maybe any jazz, any type of music you recommend?
Well, we have a Suzuki violin school in Philadelphia, and that is a beautifully developed program over more than 50 years. And if a child can learn how to play the violin, he can obviously play any instrument. So we just use the Suzuki program because it proves that babies can do anything, and small children, in terms of music and playing an instrument.
And at what age do they start?
Well, there's some lessons that they can start at 18 months.
Wow.
And by 3.
They're playing?
Yeah, they're playing by 3.
Okay, good. Going back to a question I have, I just remembered about crawling. The baby starts crawling at 7 months old. And then the baby starts to stand up when he's 8 months old. And he goes creeping. He goes creeping. The baby gets to a chair and stands up. And the mother says, I want my baby to creep more. I don't want him to be standing up. Should we stop that?
Okay, it's a good question. And first of all, there is crawling, which is on the tummy. Mm-hmm. And this is a very important thing for babies to do in terms of their physical development and their respiratory development. But very few babies nowadays actually do crawl. They don't get enough time on the floor. And so they skip crawling and they go on to the ability to creep on their hands and knees. This is not a good idea, to skip a whole important developmental stage. Then babies are not creeping as much as they should as well. And we also have walkers and things designed to get babies to walk, and that discourages them from crawling and creeping. That breaks up the natural process. It's very important for baby to crawl a lot, creep a lot, and then walk when he's ready.
What would be a lot?
We would like to see as much as possible. The baby is going to walk by 12 months of age, so it's going to happen sooner or later. And the age doesn't matter. We want him to be prepared by having crawled and crept a lot.
Okay, and when they creep, they should creep every day?
Well, I mean, it's the means of transportation for them until they walk.
But mothers don't put them, they start creeping, but they don't want the baby to get dirty, for example, so they don't put the baby into the floor. You think it's important that they put the babies into the floor to creep even if they get dirty? Because mothers, we mothers sometimes get like, I don't want my baby to get dirty or eat something from the floor, so that's why I don't put the baby on the floor.
Well, it's true. We want the floor to be clean, warm, and safe. And what we do in our houses is that the mothers put up a sign, and when people come into the house, they take off their shoes, and they don't wear their shoes in the house. That helps make the floors cleaner. And by the way, that's exactly what they do in Southeast Asia and Japan. It's nothing new. And so, yeah, but if I had a choice between a child, and by the way, all kids get dirty, you know?
Exactly.
They love to play in the dirt. That's normal. So there's no way you can avoid that.
But you don't have a number of hours that you say, okay, they should creep 10 hours a day.
No, when they're not doing something else, they should have the opportunity to creep and learn about the environment. I mean, they want to creep around and find out about things. That's important for their intellectual development as well.
Okay, perfect. So next time you come to Costa Rica, you're going to see babies creeping and crawling all over the floor. What do you think?
Wonderful.
And I need to tell you, thank you so much for being with me one more time. Your time is so precious because I know you don't have so much time always. And really, we really appreciate that you are here at El ABC de los Padres. Thank you very much and see you back in May.
Yeah. Muchas gracias.
Muchísimas gracias por estar con nosotros en este programa tan especial donde contestamos muchas de sus preguntas acerca del famoso método Doman. Nos vemos la próxima semana. Hasta luego.